live. And I think we're live now. It's not telling me. Yeah. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic Podcast. I have a good friend of James Rink with me today. I have with me Oksana Buchanan, and she's going to talk a little bit about her friendship with James and her involvement in like the Black Ops, like SSP programs. Oksana Buchanan is a former Dark Fleet soldier and mechanical support operative who recalls working on spacecraft engines, serving in Mars Defense Force, and participating in the Crystal Gate program, where she experienced consciousness transfer into a dolphin form. She also worked for covert programs such as a telepath, functioning as a translator between multiple extraterrestrial species and human personnel inside underground facilities on Earth. Oksana was also a friend of the late James Rink and a part of the broader MILAB SSP experiencer community. In this interview, she joins me to discuss her memories, missions, multidimensional roles, and deeper agenda behind the interspecies communication. And I'd like to give her a big warm welcome to the show. Oksana, thank you so much for coming on. How are you?
Hi, good, thank you. Yeah, unfortunately, what happened? It's hard to talk about James, but my story with him begins around 6 years ago. When I had an interview, I had an awakening in 2016. I discovered I had a session with Alba Weinman, discovered I had this telepathic abilities. But when I was little, I used to go to the window every night, look at the brightest star, and say, I'm not from here, I'm from the star. I want to go back. I also remember in my childhood that I would ask my mother to keep the lights on in my room where I slept because I would tell her that I would see almost every night that the ceiling would open up and I would see a spacecraft come and the reptilians in military uniform would take me through some tunnel. And it just was a horror story because later, thanks to one of my friends, a telepath, we also discovered that they also abuse in many ways those military reptilian forms, and you know how your mind tries to hide the memories from you also. And then they would take me to the base. I remember the lunar base. I remember the inside the spaceship with many groups of kids. I remember this funky, like they Grace would shapeshift, or they would wear a cloak, and they would look
Yeah.
like some sort of grandma clown or some cartoon character, like a Mickey Mouse type thing. And Yeah, that was weird because I grew up in Soviet Union, right, and in Ukraine, in Kiev, and we didn't really have access to cartoons at that point, Mickey Mouse and all this Disney stuff. But I had a big Disney toy, Mickey Mouse toy with a rubber face and everything looked exactly. Nobody else had it. I didn't even know a name, but it reminded me one of those grays talking to me. Um, and so Later on, I went to have sessions with Claudio Grifasi. It's like Italian school of regressology, and he offered me to work with him, but it just didn't work out. Time difference and stuff. He's in Europe, in Madrid. But at that point, I told my mom when I was 9 that I had to live in the US because I was working there in USA, and I remember her. She was couldn't understand because she was an immunologist, biologist, and she considered moving to Canada because Canadians were offering Ukrainian scientists, and I grew up in a family of scientists, professors of science and stuff, and to move to. So that was the only option for us, but not USA. And she was wondering why I kept saying that I will live in USA, which happened. Which happened. I immigrated, married, and then I had this interview. Oh well, my awakening was sudden onset. It was like I was meditating since 16 years old because my mom was a scientist and also knew English very well. because of my her dad traveling around the world as a scientist. And in Soviet Union, it was hard to leave the country. But if you're a scientist and you're invited to conference, you could. And she taught me English since little. Um, there was a group of Maharishi yogi came to us. I was 16, and she was translating at the conference with them, and they taught me how to meditate. So I've been meditating a lot. Um, Before I woke up, I had like a tough year, and I would meditate 4 or 5 hours a day. And all of a sudden, I started getting this electric impulses throughout, going throughout my body. Like, in my body would go like this in circles, like nonstop. Every time I would sit down or relax for a second, even like when you pause, you know. Um, so I went to have this session with Alba Weinman, and that's my awakening. But then I had an interview on Starseed channel with Chase or Hendrix. He's a friend of James. I didn't know James at that point. I saw a couple of his videos. That's all. And then my daughter, who was 9 years at a time, who also had a session with Kalashur Grifazi. She was 9. She wanted to trance easily because she kept telling me reptilians are threatening us when our bodies are asleep. And she was sleepwalking. She had recalls of reptilians abducting her from her elf planet. She had, at 2.5 years old, she told me a story how she was up at the sky. It was like a platform. She would explain there was like a building, a house, and there was a lot of kids, and they would show on the screen different women. My husband asked, like, "Did you pick a me?" And she said, "No, you only pick a mom through whom you come through." Speaking of mom, my mom was Rh negative, same blood type like James, and she told me
I'm a
before she
negative.
died.
I'm an O negative. I
Oh,
figured that. Yeah, yeah.
interesting. Yeah, she told me she died at 47, the age of 47. And before she died, she told me, "Nobody believed me, even my mom, but I never conceived you. I don't know how I got pregnant." Like she said, it's the truth. She was very high consciousness. She told me, I remember her stepdad, she told me he would make fun of her reading fairy tales at the age of 40. But she told me, never listen to the news, never read any grown up books. Just fairy tales have the only truthful information you can find here. I, of course, at that time I could understand what she meant, but then, you piece all these puzzles together at some point. um, so after the interview of me and then my daughter, it's actually on the Chases on Starseed Talk website still, one of the oldest interviews. I think I was number 5 interviewed. um, so on Skype, I was doing sessions with as a telepath with my clients on Skype, and I see a message from James, and he says, "Well, my friend Chase slash Hendrix, he calls himself Hendrix in the interviews, told me about you. Can I have a session with you?" And then we had a session together. It's such a beautiful story because when I looked, I remembered who he was, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, such a big star. And I barely had 1,000 subscribers on my channel because my channel is actually badly shadow banned. Everybody tells me
Wait,
about it, but
Oksana,
I
I got a
found it
question
quite
for you.
quickly. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bother you. I mean, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I turned your volume up the whole way on Streamyard, but like, is there any way you
Can't
could
hear
turn up
me?
your volume? Yeah, that's better because they were saying they can hardly hear you in the audience. Like,
Oh,
but I
okay.
turned your
Okay,
volume
maybe
up
I
the
should.
whole way. Yeah, I can hear you pretty good though.
Okay.
But
Okay, I'll try to speak loudly. So, and he
that's
slept.
much better.
Yeah. That day, James overslept, and he was eating his. He just made a couple of eggs, fried them, and he told me, "Is it okay if I'm gonna eat my breakfast and you do the session?" He was. I mean, I was so worried that it's officially it's a big star. James Rink, I mean, asked me to do a session for him. And then, he was so down to earth and so kind. He was just like an amazing person. I've never met such a kind, down to earth person. And I actually that session is posted on my channel, my YouTube channel. But you can hear his voice, but he asked me to cover completely his window because he was like literally in it wasn't like pajama top, but just like a white shirt he slept in, eating. But those moments that you remember, you just want to cry because it was so beautiful. And then I saw myself in a cage, and I quickly remembered that dream on repeat in my childhood. I'm sitting in the cage in a dark tunnel, and I was sitting next to him, like his cage was next to me, and it was on Mars. Um, and so we pieced the pieces of puzzle together, and then we saw ourselves together on the same spaceship when they would teach you or special abilities. They basically stimulate, right, induce whatever your abilities that you already had. And those clown faces, those Mickey Mouse faces, all that, we remember the grays. Um, and then we did many more sessions, and actually a lot of information from this uh, sessions we did, he used in his book. And he was very nice. I mean, because he asked me, do you want a credit? And he put my name on there, that he used the information from our investigation sessions, and also in some of the articles like the flowers of Mars on his website. I don't know if they're still up, or because I drew a flower there too. And so there's a lot of things, but all I remembered that I disconnected from the SSP because of like, thanks to him. He helped me do it. He was higher ranked than me, and I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do the missions. I understood that it was a dark fleet. I just knew it was not good. It was not for the best of neither any alien race nor humanity. You know what we were doing. So I asked him to, if I could disconnect. And I remember him going to computer room, and that's what I saw in our sessions together when we investigated. And he got into computer. It was like a holographic thing. Some computers looked absolutely old-fashioned, like from my childhood, but this one was holographic screen, and he deleted my files. And I was free to go, because and then we proceeded to see, I mean, and then there's so many clients started coming to me because he posted me on his website, and he also started referring people to me to open their memories up. And there's so many people start recognizing me. Some of them told me that, oh, Oksana, I remember you in this black uniform. You worked as a AT interpreter between the USA government and AT races that we captured, or that came to us for exchanging something to something, under the so I live when I married, I moved to Chicago, and they said they remember me in the underground bases under the floor of Lake Michigan. So that was interesting because I had a lot of deja vu with Chicago. Like this one building we lived in the first time, I remember seeing a dream standing on the balcony of this particular apartment that I moved in when I married. I was 22 years old. And then I remember walking with kids to the beach one day, and I remember I looked down, and it was in the middle of the summer, hot. I was in sandals. I looked down. It's kind of like flashback. I see myself wearing those boots, like military boots, and the uniform camouflage. It was beige brown something. I think it was Mars Defense Force. And I felt like I had to look on the lab, that I had some sort of bracelet with some sort of map that was supposed to unfold like a screen. And then one of my children told mom, and then I'm back. And I started getting
Yeah.
these flashbacks all the time. Then we did crystal gate investigation. Something triggered my crystal gate, because I started having vivid memories of myself being a dolphin. And I even drew. There's one of the sessions on my channel related to SSP that I had a client from SSP. I put like a drawing that I made by myself. It was me as a dolphin, James holding onto my feet, and we were. I remember him standing. He was probably 7 years old, and looking at me, and we were communicating telepathically. What's interesting, my youngest daughter is since she was 3, she knew the names of people on the street and the building without even knowing those people. And she would
Wow.
tell me, I'm a dolphin, I only eat grass or seaweed. And both of my daughters have disabilities because my oldest, who was 9 back then when we discovered the abilities, she still has them. She's 15 now. She remembers her planet, her elf planet. She knows she cannot talk about it with anybody because, you know. But both of my daughters, since they were very little, my husband's, relatives all would eat meat, and they would tell them, "We don't eat meat. These are animals. We don't eat our friends." And you can watch the interview my daughter
Are-
gave
Can
to.
I ask you a question? Are you
Yeah,
vegan as well?
yeah, yeah. I stopped eating. I never liked meat. I would throw it out of the window from the 12th floor living in Kiev. But I completely announced that I stopped eating meat at the age of 16. That was it. I couldn't stand it anymore. The people were trying to give it to me. Because, former Soviet Union, Ukraine is high consumption of meat, with potatoes usually the meal and borscht and all that. Borscht was meat also. But my mother used to make everything without meat, but she would still have like chicken and stuff, like all the soups were vegan, but which was strange for Ukrainian friends because they usually make a broth from meat and then make a soup out of it.
Maybe your mom was a hybrid as well, or so. Maybe your mom had those ET connections, and maybe she
Hmm.
felt that way. Maybe and but like remember back in the day, people couldn't express it as much because it wasn't as common now. Now it's very common to be vegan, but back in the day it wasn't. Or
Right.
vegetarian.
Yes, yes, totally. Yeah, and yeah, my 15-year-old recently became vegan too. She just she watched how they treat animals and no way. So from vegetarian she went to totally abandoning all the animal products. So yeah, those and then I had so James, what he would do, he would call me anytime and would say, "Hey, I have this friend on the line. Can you look at him?" And I would not see the person. I would be like in the middle at the playground with my kids. I had 4 kids, and I would immediately like close my eyes and see and tell, and they would confirm. It's kind of like Kimberly. You know Kimberly, right? She told me I
Usana,
heard her. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I don't know her yet,
She,
but I've heard of her. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And she would be interested because she was very close to James also. And there would be interesting interview with her, by the way, also. Um, and so I would do that a lot. And then he would ask me to do a session for his friends, a lot also. It's kind of like it was even instances when his friend couldn't find like a bag or some belonging, and I would just look and see where it was. And we became so close to the point when we could call each other anytime and here's the situation we're going through. It's kind of like brother and sister. Like I have a brother in Ukraine. That's how I call my brother, and he calls me the same. That's why when James was, his physical body was gone, he is here now. I feel him every day. He talks to me. When I get the most emotional, it's like a coping mechanism, 1 hour you feel like that's okay, you can do it. In another hour, you totally just want to cry. And sometimes I like stand in the ocean and just like I can't stop crying. And he would like, "Hey, remember we always wanted to go to the beach together?" And I just hear it. But what I do, why I studied Italian a way of doing hypnosis and being a telepath. What Italians figured out in their school of hypnotherapy, when you call a soul in the etheric, you always look into the eyes of a being and touch the being. It doesn't matter if it's an angel, anybody, any entity, being of light, whoever it is, or your relative,
I
and
recently
touch and with intention read the DNA of that energy being, because a lot of times there would be a gray or any other malevolent being who would use the technology to show you that, I mean, to appear to you as if it was like James or your relative, but it's not him. When you touch it, the illusion, the holographic image would disappear, and then you would see the real true uh, entity that you read by touching and reading the DNA with intention. It works like magic. It's just such a great method I discovered, because most people just like see an angel, oh, it's an angel. But the thing is, they use, malevolent beings use the mirror technology. So the love you feel from them and the light you see that they emit is actually your love and your light. They're like mirrors. They absorb your love and your light, and then they mirror it back to you from themselves. So you feel like it's coming from them, but it's actually from you. Um, I actually did a look how James left his body that day. And he left from his head, but kind of like this. And then I saw two beings. He was connected to SSP, egregora, and that's why I saw two beings. They're kind of hybrids. Human body, head was have metal with big beaks, very strange looking. They captured him on both sides and like flew with him into the tunnel of light. And tunnel of light, when it spins, it's like a kind of like a technology spirals. It erases your memory that you accumulated during lifetime. That's why you like feel, and it kind of relaxes you to the point like, you're just like, you're like on drugs, like you're on high. And then actually, Catherine, who was with him, who took him to the medbed facility in Virginia, they called me from the hotel they were staying in, going to facility. Um, she told me that because I saw him sitting on the chair, and there was like a holographic kind of screen with life review in front of him. He was sitting on the chair after the life tunnel, and she told me, Oksana, I felt him when I was sitting on the chair. He said he's sitting next to me, and she asked him, what are you doing? And he said that I'm watching my life review. And that's when I showed up, because you can intervene, you can intercept the whole process going. It's like a movie, it's like slides. And when you show up on time before he went through the factory of prepping his soul for reincarnation, you can still help him. So he read the information off of me, what happened, and he was gone immediately. I saw him going towards, he read all the information I knew from me in a second, split whatever second, and he was going through the golden portal of the original sun. He actually corrected me in a session after that. That's like called golden gate, golden stargate. And he says that the only way to leave our artificial universe that became artificial, um, and that was confirmed the same day by video that came to me, because I keep asking him for confirmations, to the point then when I think about him or think of something, and I was holding the phone at once, talking about him with somebody, my screen on WhatsApp started spinning like a wheel of fortune. I could never like, and I couldn't even catch it to record the voice message to type. And when I said to myself, that must be James, I looked up and it was 222, the time, 2 p.m. and
Wow.
22 minutes. It comes a lot to me like this. He confirms a lot with some shorts from some channels I've never seen when I open my phone, what I just thought, what he just told me. There's a lot, and actually, I had a confirmation about this Golden Sun portal the same day, and I've never heard of anybody talking about it. Um, because this thing is, so I had a client from Finland, and he asked me because he was from SSP, as we found out in his session. He asked me if James could be in his session, his next session with me. And James agreed. I mean, he's such a beautiful person, And he agreed. We still have a chat. I cannot erase it, just like a memory. Yeah, sure. I'll join you on December 2nd at 12 noon Eastern. And so of course he couldn't join, but he joined us in spirit, and his soul joined us. And he told me, I mean, I posted that session. He told us so much about the process of getting out of physical body, of the physical layer. um, it was very interesting, and you know just amazing that he uh, he said he would join, and he did join on December 2nd. Yeah.
Wow.
But it's very hard to process this. I still have moments when I see, Facebook icon. By the way, he's like, whenever I'm very emotional, like ready to, like starting to cry, he would, one way or another, I would see his picture popping up on my screen, like from Facebook, his icon, with his picture or something like this, or the numbers on the house, a building, or time would be, you know, there was one night I kept waking up at all 222, 333, 444, just like endless. And it was all day I was thinking about him. Uh, yeah, and he's done so many amazing things, and I have so many things I can't even talk about, because we've done a lot of research on a lot of people in the community. Uh, and unfortunately, you must discern. You must discern by yourself. Everything you hear, there's a lot of agents who are here to confuse you, to give you wrong information, um, and there's been a lot of people who been taking over his conferences or doing something, putting obstacles on his way, um, and it's not easy. I mean, this game we're in, this layer of reality. I mean, it's changing. It's being changed. I feel it every day. But it's like always a duality game. Always negative versus positive, and I'm so tired of it. But James was probably the most positive person I've ever met in my life. Um, yeah, there's so much. I mean, there's so much we've had in common, and so many memories together. And unfortunately, every time we would do investigation session, I would want to record it, but he would say, "No, no, I type fast." You know how he types real fast. And I don't know where those transcripts are, probably in files on his computer or something. But we had this one amazing session that I still remember. I saw him as a general living in Moscow in the World War II. And the name, the second name came to me, and even the address where he lived with a family. And then we looked it up after the session, and we found the actual name, and he lived around that area. We couldn't find the address, of course, but we could find the general, and he lived exactly at the time we saw it. That was James. Um, we investigated a lot about on his clones. He had professional people who drew what I saw in sessions. He incorporated them into videos, books, articles on his website. I mean, there was just such an amazing, interesting journey, but I'm just hoping that his channel and all the videos are gonna be intact, preserved, and
Do you know?
continue to
Do
be
you?
shared
I
with
don't know if
others.
anybody. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry. I just had to ask this question. Like, do you know if anybody's going to take over Super Soldier Talk? Like, will anybody try to like take over and like keep doing what he was doing, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. There's one guy. Yeah, he's been interviewed by James. Yeah, he's gonna take over. But I think we're gonna make a video and tell people, who is taking over what and disclose it soon. So we're working on that right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because James connected to certain people that were very close to him and gave us the names. And he told me many times that he's going to arrange everything. It's very easy to arrange it from the other side. Um, and he's leading us. I mean, it's amazing how everything connected. The people found each other, and it's just kind of like magical journey. And we know James is behind it. He's guiding all of us. Hmm.
I had another question. Well, this was from the audience. This is from Jason. Jason wants to know. So, is his nonprofit still going to be going then as well?
Yes, yes, I'm still on board of his nonprofit. We're working on it. Yeah, we've been having meetings and stuff. Yeah,
That's
we're
awesome.
gonna announce. We're gonna make a video, and all of us who's gonna continue his legacy, we're gonna talk about what we're gonna do together. Yeah, so it's gonna happen soon. We're just like discussing all this every day right now at this point.
Um, yeah. I agree. That's awesome. Yeah. And guys, if you have any questions for Oksana in the chat, you can put them in the chat. You can put your questions in the chat. And I'm sorry, people are saying my volume's too loud and yours is too low. But I mean, I've tried to adjust it the whole time we've been talking. It's just, I think it's targeting or something because, like,
Mm-hmm. Totally.
yeah. Um,
Um,
uh, let me. I'll ask. I have some questions for you. So, what did you? We didn't talk a lot about the Crystal Gate, the dolphin program. Could you talk a little bit about that,
yeah, the
or what you
consciousness
remember?
transfer and things like that. Yeah, I mainly remember being a dolphin. And I remember they have this certain um devices, to transfer consciousness. I remember I was looking at a session how painful it is for a soul to be transferred, especially in a human body, back from, a dolphin, for instance. But I wanted to add to what you just said that we're targeted. It's just totally true because the day off when I found out about James, I started seeing a spacecraft above the roof, hovering above the house I'm in, and I see those reptilians a lot there. I mean, there's just constantly. I heard the frequency in my left ear. There's one thing we shared with James always. We would always have like a left side hurting, especially the left throat, like side of the everything on the left. I was born, my ears, like all my left side, hands, ear, everything is so much smaller than the right side. Some people are just like, when they look closer, like, wow, it's just unbelievable. But what I found out during my sessions that they do this to people in SSP on purpose. Not everyone, but because if the left side is smaller, then everything on the left side is weaker. In terms of organs and the heart, the space to fill in. Um, and also, for some reason, they would always insert this implant on the left side. This reptilians tried to insert into my left ear too when I was asleep, because the first night after I found out that James physically was gone, I recorded a video on my channel. I was crying. I just couldn't even show my face. I was walking in circles in the park. It's almost like, you're just like in denial. You don't understand is it true or not, because until the very last for a few days I was waiting for him to text me, to email me, that I felt like he was alive, but he was so close to me that it felt that way. Yeah, and I know totally, like I told you, I've been doing my channel and my sessions, posting them for a long time, and people always come to me, like clients often return after a year or two, some of the 5 years return back to me for another session, and they say, Oksana, they just YouTube unsubscribed us from you, and when I typed your name, it wouldn't show up in search. And there's too many people told me about it already. uh, so in Crystal Gate. But actually, the thing is about James. I remember the session about his brother, Mooney or Looney. See, that's the thing. If I had the recording, because when I go into trance, um, I say things, and then I go out of trance, and I remember only 20% of what I said, but then it fades away like a dream the same day. Um, I remember the orphanage on Mars. I remember the underground, big castle-like mansions where James was, like a little child with some very rich people. Um, and there's so much stuff. The Crystal Gate. I remember actually we did a session on it. And I would always see myself as a dolphin. And I would always remember James as that child. And we had this connection. And from that, I figured out that they somehow uh, made us preserve that children like energy that comes from me and from James. A lot of times, people take our kindness for weakness and they feel like we are immature, or it's easy to trick us, kind of like child's energy. People read through this, it comes across like with me, James. There's some other people I met that have the same, uh, and
Priscilla,
mhm.
would you say Priscilla's like in the same like with you and James? Like she,
Yeah, some people, it's like kids always come to me. They don't even see my age. They say, "Do you want to play with us?" It's been all my life, and the birds would just sit on my legs. Uh, and animals just come to me. They start talking to me. That's how I found my cat. She would just come to me every day in my walk back from the beach to the house, and murr, 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 only to me. I have this special connection with kids and animals, and James did too, and we connected quickly because our energies are alike. It's almost like so it's a new age concept about the twin flames. But if I believe in new age, I actually done a lot of investigation sessions on twin souls, all this new age stuff, on Kalodjero Grifazi Academy. He has a lot of channels, in different languages, by the way: English, Russian, Ukrainian, Polish, Spanish, Italian, Japanese.
who is this, Oksana?
It's Kalodjero Grifazi. I can send you. I had like seven investigation sessions done on his channel as a telepath. So what they do, he puts together a protocol of questions about regarding any topic. Like you can find literally any topic you can think of in esoteric and what's happening, in the physical. And he would send off the questions. The same questions as a protocol to all the how does he call them? It's not a regressologist, and it's an operator. And I was a telepath. So operator reads the questions when I'm in trance, and I get the answers, right? Being in self hypnosis. Um, and then he would compare from different languages all the answers. It's a tough job to do, but because you can't just completely trust one telepaths because we still have our body is the biggest filter. It's like wearing a VR set with multiple programs and belief systems. We all have different belief systems, right? And but there's a lot of but when the answers are the same from different telepaths, different languages, on this, given to the same questions, I mean that means this is like a big chance that this is correct information, and that's what he's been doing. That's why I learned his technique. I added some of the stuff I know from other techniques, other schools of hypnotherapy, but primarily I'm just a telepath. I read people, and I feel through people. When people come to me for a session, I tell them specifically, please don't tell me anything about you, because it would always, the information that comes from me when I connect to their soul and their soul speaks through me. We do the cleansing, removal, implants, entities, all that. It always resonates with them, and it's always the truth about their life. So, plus when I'm in trance, I cannot, um, I just cannot guide myself. I cannot do anything about just the words just coming out of my mouth. I cannot control the process. That's the only difference I do from what Kalojira does, because he always asks you to, since I have a session with him, my daughter did, to describe your life, to describe your problems in life, and what questions you want to find out in your session. In my sessions, it just like I'm just blank. I don't know anything about the person. Um, and yeah, we've done a lot of research on a lot of topics with James, and he had all these other telepaths around them that are very strong, like Kimberly. She's super strong. Like, I think you would enjoy talking to her. She would go on James's podcast a lot, too, and much more than me. I mean, she has so many podcasts done with him. Um, but a lot of this information, I feel like it's too personal. I can't reveal. And some of it's about the super soldiers that have YouTube channels. You know what I mean? I'm never gonna talk about those. But I basically, it's just so hard because I'm like very emotional. I feel James right now. And he always tells me calm down, but he himself, he does get a little nervous during the interviews. He tells me, I understand how you feel, but I feel very hot. He's around. He's very high consciousness, like high frequency. Just like I feel like in the sauna right now, around his energy. Yeah, and
You
he's with
definitely
his
feel like
dad on a spaceship. He's with his dad. The dad we saw that spaceship in the session we did together. We've done a few of them regarding that, where he comes from. He comes from a different universe. He's one of those souls who come to connect the forces. He's supposed to gather people around him, and this way he spreads information. Um, the only problem that they tricked him into being in this life and being spreading the information and interviewing super soldiers. This way you're kind of hooked to super soldier egregora, and that's when they can get hold of you when you come out of the physical body. That's why it was important to make sure that his soul made out of the matrices. There's physical matrix, there's other matrices which are traps. There's, according to Gnostics, there are 7 traps out of this fake distorted reality, fake copy of the original reality. Um, and I feel like if you focus on your desire to get out, and you don't get distracted by anybody, waving at you and your people used to be emotional connected to in your physical life. If you don't pay attention to all of this, because it's all fake, it's all illusion, holographic images, you just focus on where you want to go. And that's exactly what he's done before he entered the Golden Suns Stargate. As he said, he's on this giant spaceship. It's like amazing. Every time I go, it looks big, but when you go inside, it gets bigger and it has so many levels. I don't know how many levels it is. It's like a planet of its own. And he always sits on this chair looking at the um, you can call it cosmos, but he told me, like, you understand, it's like a spark of light. It has different fractals, which are us, souls, but then it expands into this big cosmic thing, and it depends on if you are wearing an avatar body or not, how much you can see. And he's so relaxed and he's loving it. He has this garden that he goes to. He has this water. It was like looks like an ocean. I just it's amazing. And they go from universe to universe and they scan it and they make sure they they see if any force like who came to this universe took over. I've seen us actually on Sirius. I'm from Sirius B. I'm an aquatic creature. I'm a merman. And everybody who came to me, including his friends, would always see me as a male creature. But in one of the sessions, I saw me and him on 3D Sirius A. We were, it was like a village, and we both were boys who were friends. And I remember looked like a dark fleet, like lots of dark spacecrafts came, and a lot of men looked like from the World War II, the way they were dressed. The uniforms came and they would take children. And I think, so you understand there's different realities, different timelines from which they can capture aspects of your soul. So I always tell people if you are needing help, you call on aspect of your soul because to me, I'm also some sort of like ancient kind of wizard-looking being on Sirius B who teaches the knowledge or who passes the knowledge. There's no hierarchical ladder there. We're all the same. But if you had a lot of lives on certain planet, you accumulated the knowledge, you can share it. And I come to myself when I need some certain knowledge, right? And I share it with others. But I share it with me. So my own self comes to myself. So I always tell people, don't call any, people always ask me archangels. It's archon and angel. It's archonic angels. They're not, do you think they would really create a trap, a prison trap for souls, not thinking about that we would wake up, what we would do? They infiltrated, they put a lot of agents to infiltrate all kinds of awakening process stages. You wake up, you go to the new age, new cage. You switch from from one religion to another religion, which is new age. Um, if you just sit around, meditate, and spread love and light, what's gonna change on this planet? There's so much deception. And how can be Earth be a school if they erase your memory in between incarnations, so you basically don't remember what you learned in the past? It's kind of like you go from one classroom, one grade to another grade, and they erase your memories that you learned in the first grade. How can you learn in the second if you don't remember anything anymore? You start from point zero again. Makes no sense if you start questioning the teachings, the people. mm, you would because most people what they do, they listen to somebody who is has a big channel, let's say. What I learned that those who have big channels with lots and lots of hundreds thousands or million subscribers, and if the matrix lets them be such big channels, it means that the matrix uses them also, and they spread truthful information, but mostly it's non-truths to confuse others. That's why you and me don't have as many subscribers. It's just simple. It's very simple because look how many scientists were gone from the face of the earth, from the face of this reality, right? Layer of reality, when they discovered something important. People like James were taken, you know, so they wouldn't be able to continue. I mean, James showed me so many sketches. He had so many ideas about the healing centers to build when we would he would get the money. He had amazing ability. He was like an architect. His sketches are amazing. I don't know who has them now, but I was amazed. And he didn't learn how to do it, obviously, but he had so many talents. People didn't even know the depths of his knowledge, talents, and everything. Unfortunately, he's not gonna be able to do that, no longer in the physical. But this conference, it was just too everything was too suspicious. Was people getting sick right before, him getting like that too, being attacked 4 days before and after. I always felt like this year wasn't good, but unfortunately, there's scripts people are programmed to follow, and there's ways. This matrix has so many ways to influence your thinking, your decision making, but
I
yeah, but
agree.
yeah.
It's like a it's hard to discern like what's really going on here, sometimes like, or what,
Mm,
like, it's we really have to use our, absolute discernment, because it seems like we're being tricked at every turn, whether it's by the government or by, like you said, archonic forces or whatever. It seems like, there's targeting, and it's crazy,
right. Yeah, it's true, and but that's the biggest problem. But once again, James told me, he said, no matter what people try to do, I'm in a better position to fix everything and to do the right thing and help the right people out. So, but it's very hard without him. It's very hard.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for taking your time to do this interview today, because I know it must be hard because James just passed. So like, like we're sending
Right.
our condolences out to everybody that's, you and everybody. And like, I feel like we're all feeling it, because, like me, I didn't know James as well as you, but I did do like 6 or 7 podcasts with him. We did group podcasts together, and, I did get to know him pretty well, and it's just like, I mean, I agree with you. He was an amazing person. He was always so nice and cordial, and, he was great to work with, I'm going to really miss him.
Right. Yeah, yeah, he was amazing at organizing people and groups together and all this. Uh, yeah, we'll miss him, and nobody could really do it for him, but we're gonna try our best to continue what he was doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you
Well,
so
let me ask you
much.
this.
Yeah. Hmm.
Is there anything else you want to share today before we finish up, or? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting goosebumps, and I'm just like, I couldn't sleep last night. There's obviously something going on with energies. I can tell you this thing. One thing that I noticed in my clients who come to me, people right now are suffering either emotionally or physically. There's just too many people are going from the physical, leaving the physical body, and also there's so many people suffering unexpected, out of the blue physical problems happening to their bodies. On the other hand, some people like me are struck with a sudden loss of somebody that was very close to them, or that would hurt your emotional mental body, and you're just like disabled, you're disrupted, you're disbalanced. And I know what they're doing. They're trying to lower our frequency, they're trying to disorient us, because a lot going on behind the scenes, and a lot is above so below, over there too. But we should try to stay low. I kept telling James, let's stay low. The 2025 is just like the tough year. 2026 is going to be the year of cause and effect when people are going to get what they deserve. I truly believe that. I was told that by multiple souls in trance, including James. So the truth will vibrate and is vibrating much higher than non-truth. So at some point we will find out who is who. For now, it's up to you to discern and filter people and decide for yourself. But be very careful.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to say for now.
We had one more question. From the audience. This one's from Nathan Way Switch. Oh, my light went out. Sorry. Let me fix this. 1 second. There we go. Okay. This was from Nathan Way Switch Fox. He says, "Where does Oksana see the state of disclosure?" I put it up on the screen. He says, "Where does Oksana see the state of disclosure right now?" Or do you have an opinion on that?
Well, it's the disclosure is going on right now, and it's gonna accelerate in 2026. So we are in disclosure right now. You see how much happening. Do you see what's happening in my country, in Ukraine? The whole government is just FBI is like after everybody, including the president. Corruption and all this. I mean, just amazing stuff that we're discovering all over the place. But you know what? In other planets, you just don't have the government. We don't need the government. We don't need religion. We don't need any of this. They're all operated by draconian system, by reptilians, draconians, and other malevolent beings. And those people we see, in that hierarchical ladder up there are just the puppets. The puppeteers are high above that our physical eyes don't see. But it's still gonna be seen and opened up, and we are in disclosure. It's accelerating, and it's gonna be faster and faster spiraling. So, but you
Yeah.
have to be preserving your energy. It's important.
Yeah.
Um,
You said about the sleep last night. I had trouble sleeping too. And Crystal from the this is Crystal from the audience. I put the quote up. She said sleep was hard last night. So it seems like it was hard for a lot of us. Because like I know I
right.
was up last night too at like 2, 3 in the morning, and I knew I had to
Same.
do this interview this morning. Like I knew I had to do this, but like some
Me
part of
too.
me just couldn't sleep, and she couldn't either, and you couldn't.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like well, I wonder what that is. Do you think it's something with the energies? Like, I know we were in Mercury retrograde. I know we had a full moon recently, but like, do you think that has something to do with it, or like, what do you know what I
Here's
mean?
what I see. I see that so when the original universe was taken over and the planet was taken over, they started layering layers of artificial reality over and over and over, right? The sphere inside the sphere in Vatican, the statue kind of shows you that we are in the shell of multiple layers. The layers are cracking right now. And because they're cracking, the energies, it's like we're shaken up inside and we feel it, and the rhythms are changing. Everything is being shaken, and we feel it because we're intuitive, we're very sensitive to it. Because, I mean, Matrix people didn't have any problem sleeping, as far as I know. But those who didn't wake up or woken up and just went back to sleep or basically falsely awakened, let's say. But yeah, every time I post something on my channel that I couldn't sleep, and everybody, yeah, me, or if I say this part of my body was hurting, I experienced this body sensations, everybody always says the same thing. There's so many confirmations. Absolutely. I knew about the interview that I agreed to it. And you know how it happened? Interestingly, you wrote to me, asked me if I wanted to interview with you in was December 9th, 2024. And then I rarely go on Messenger, so I don't check it. I checked it after James passing. And I felt an urge to do it with you. Yeah, and everything is happens for a reason. Everything. The even those people who are watching it now, there's a reason why their soul brought them to watch it. And James told me actually, I always saw that 30% of people awaken from all the people with souls. But he said no, it's more like 21, 25%, Oksana. It's less than what you said before. That's what he told me after his physical body was gone. Yeah, he started communicating with me. Tells me a lot of insights, which is
Yeah,
interesting.
I was gonna say I don't know why we never did a show before. We have similar friends. We're both friends with Priscilla. We're both friends with James. So it's like it was. I think it was meant to be, but like it just never happened yet. But I'm glad it
Right.
did.
Yeah, but look, I mean, Priscilla, I've done a lot of sessions with Priscilla. They're all on her channel. You can watch them if you scroll down. And yeah,
That's
there's a
cool.
certain reason for everything. So it was meant to be today.
Yeah,
I
I
felt
agree.
I
And
had to do it.
I think it came out really good, even though like sleep was bad last night for everyone, and like I still think it came out pretty good. Like, I was rushing this morning to get the thumbnail ready and get the link ready, and I barely got it out in time. I was like, but I can promote it now because I have all day to promote it, so I can go back and promote it. And thank you for the super chat. 100 years from now, think that was nice of you. Someone sent a super chat. That was really nice of you. Yeah, thank you. And yeah, I don't have any other questions. Do you have a final message for the audience that you kind of want to leave or anything like that, like before we finish up?
Yeah, I think we are nearing the end with a lot of things. And I feel like, I mean, I don't want to, I don't feel like channel right now. I'm just exhausted after last night. But I feel like you have to question every single thing that people say because I see a lot of people repeat after others. Um, but I've seen many times how they trap us over and over again in the field of information everywhere you go. But right now, you have to stay strong because there's an attack going on us, on those who know, on those who are spreading the knowledge, doing interviews like you are doing, um, and just take care of yourself. Make sure you just rest a lot and all this. Don't do traveling and stuff. Don't do all of this stuff. Don't organize big things like conferences and things. I always knew this about this year and I kept telling, but yeah, and my soul always tells me preserve the energy, Oksana. It's important because you're doing more in the etheric when your physical body is asleep rather than, but when you're staying up at night, that's for a reason because there's major attack happening and your soul knows to stay in the body, not to let them attack you because it's easier to program you or to take you over or to put entities implants into you when your soul is out of the body, when the body is asleep, because you're not conscious, right? The same thing with drugs and all this. When your consciousness is muted, it's in a different state, altered state. It's easier to for entities to connect to you and to start manipulating you, taking you over, which unfortunately happens to a lot of people. Remember that one day that person can be this, and another day that person can be totally different, like day and night, like two different people, and because it was taken over by entities. I've seen how they do it. I mean, they inserted this thought in my head when I found out that night when it happened to James that you're next, Oksana. And I checked, and it was coming from that spaceship above my head. And then I started hearing this strange noise, like static noise. I always check myself almost every day for implants, for everything. And I saw that they inserted like a little chip in my left ear. No kidding. Because after the night of walking in the park, because of emotional James and all this, it was just too hard. I slept like a log the night after, you like your body needs it. And that's when they approached me. That's why they did this implant. Of course, I took it out. I did everything that I do in sessions, but that's how easy it is for them to do something to you. And I'm the
Wow.
person who's been doing my sessions for 8 years. I know all about implants, all about how they act, how they do it. And you can be on the phone with somebody, you're focusing your consciousness on, the conversation going, but they can make you agree to some contract in your subconscious is agreeing at the same point and at the same, you know, um, time as you're speaking on the phone with somebody to sign some contract. It can be signed verbally. I've seen too many times how they trick clients in their sleep to agree to something. You take a little thing from them, it's an agreement. You walk into their spaceship or touch it, it's an agreement. You know what I mean? That's just like it's there's so many ways. So always remember about the trickery.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And do you want to tell people how they can book a session with you, or how they can follow you and stuff like that? And thank you for doing this. This was awesome.
Yes, I mean, there's so I have an email that I usually ask people to contact me, marinamyguide at gmail.com. I'll give it to you so you can post it
Yeah.
under the video. And my channel is Oksana Buchanan Regressive Hypnosis. Even though I mean, I can put you into trance. I took a course on that, how to do it. I've been doing it. But most of the time, people come to me and they want me going into trance for them. I go into self hypnosis easily. I close my eyes. I ask their soul permission to go into the energy sphere, and that's when I see what's going on with them. And that's when we work on energy bodies, removing implants, checking etheric DNA, checking the story how their soul got to Terra, to planet Earth, we'll call it planet, um, whether it was their decision or they were taken over. Most souls, unfortunately, are tricked into coming here. It's like a trap, you know. So, and that's important to understand how you got here to undo everything. So you're free to go after your body goes. And technically, you're supposed to decide by yourself when your body is supposed to go. Nobody should do it for you. But when you have entities, attachments, implants, entities would decide for you. And they would trick you to sign certain they give you one life contract, but then another one unfolds because on the other side of the sheet of paper, whatever they have a book of lives, you sign, you agree to, because there's a trickery about all this tunnel of light and all of this. There's a little print I usually see. Supposed to suffer and all this because all they want you is to suffer mentally, emotionally, and look what's happening, right? But once you know how what it is and where you are and how it works out, uh, you're just like a virus for the system. They start attacking you, but they also know that you're gonna be gone from here once your physical body is gone.
Yeah.
So
Wow. Well, this was fascinating. I'm so glad we did this. And oh yeah, Jason, my moderator Jason posted your YouTube. Is this your YouTube? Let me see here. I'll put it up on the screen. YouTube.com/at Oksana Buchanan Regressive.
hypnosis, yeah. I post videos of sessions of my clients and also do some videos um, reporting about how I feel and things like that, the energies.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow you now. You know.
Yeah, it's my channel. Hmm.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. This was amazing. And yeah, guys, I have it right here. It's yeah, he was right. Yeah, or it's I have it up on my phone. If you guys can see it, it's Oksana Buchanan. I don't think they can see it. Telepath connects. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Oksana. This was great. And yeah, I look forward to getting together with you again. And yeah, and thank you. And have a nice day, everybody. And thank you for tuning in, everyone. And
Thank you. Thank
all
you.
right.